Happy Friday, everybody. It's NHL All Star Weekend. We've got so much to talk about with last minute roster changes, assignments for the skills competition, and all the entertainment for the weekend. All that and more on today's Locked On NHL.
You're Locked On NHL, your daily podcast on the National Hockey League. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On NHL for Friday, February 3rd. Can't believe we're here already. I am Rachel Donner from Locked On Flyers. I'm on Twitter at rmiriam. I'm here each and every Friday with Gil Martin of Locked On Islanders. You can find him on Twitter at IceWarsNYRVSNYI. Thanks for making Locked On NHL your first listen every day. We are free and available on all of your favorite podcasting platforms. Plus, you can watch us over on YouTube. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, official sportsbook of Locked On. Make every moment more. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn today to get started. How you doing, Gil?
I am good. I am so ready for this All-Star Weekend. I can't believe we're this deep into the season. It's February already. We haven't had snow yet, knock wood, here in New York, which is unheard of into February. But yeah, can't believe we're at this point. And now we sort of, we have this little celebration of hockey, and then we get into the home stretch for the trade deadline and the playoff hunt. So it's picking up in intensity, and I love it.
Me too. Yeah, we're only 1 month away from the trade deadline as of today. So we got to start talking about that stuff coming up soon as well. For our All-Star Weekend, we have the skills competition tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern. And then the game itself is 3 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. If you are watching in Canada, we've got it on CBC and Sportsnet. And then in the States, it's on ESPN. And then ABC itself will have the All-Star Game. So the mothership is taken over for that one. We do have some roster updates from what was originally announced, obviously due to a couple injuries. First off, Tage Thompson is unfortunately out, which is so disappointing after the season he has been having so far. A really quality substitute, though, in Rasmus Dahlin from the Sabres, in for the Atlantic Division. And I think Rasmus Dahlin was on a lot of people's snubs list. So it's good to at least get him that opportunity.
It is. I mean, Thompson is having such a great year. You really wanted to see him be representing his team. But, if you could pick a substitute, that's at the top of your list. So, and at least the Sabres are still represented.
Exactly. Now, where the problem lies is Matty Beniers from Seattle is out, being hurt as well. But he's being replaced by Chandler Stevenson from Vegas. Now, I don't know that Chandler Stevenson is the guy I would have picked next up for an all-star slot, but here we are, and Seattle has no representation at the all-star game except for Bowie, the mascot.
Hey, don't overlook Bowie, but yeah. I mean,
it's true. It's true.
Yeah, it's disappointing. They go out of their way to make sure that every team initially gets one player, and then they have the votes to fill out the rosters. You would have thought they could have found some player from the Kraken that could have filled that spot. Look, maybe they asked, we don't know, and nobody was available. People, I'm sure the players who aren't going to make plans, but you would have thought someone would have been eager to represent the team at the All-Star Game.
Especially considering how great the team is this year. That doesn't come out of nowhere. So
there are deserving candidates. There's no question.
Well, I hope Bowie can skate. Because I think the other interesting switcheroo is directly related to your Islanders. You've had a heck of a week talking about the Bo Horvat deal and what that means for your Islanders. And so he is actually going to be participating in the skills competition wearing an Islanders jersey, but in the game itself will be participating as part of the Pacific Division representing the Canucks.
Yeah, go figure. And it's weird because he will be representing the Islanders at the skills competition before he's even played one game in an Islanders uniform. So a little odd there, but from an Islanders perspective, it certainly gives the fans one more thing to follow and be interested in come All Star Weekend. And maybe this wouldn't be so easy for Bo Horvat. He's got to move. He's got to get his family over. And in between, he's got to take well, okay, it's not that bad to spend the weekend in Florida in February, but yeah.
Right. Yeah, Bo Horvat's first game as an Islander will be up against my Philadelphia Flyers
Yeah.
after the break. So I'm very much looking forward to that and seeing how he fits into the Islanders lineup then. But for now, we're going to watch him at All Star Weekend. There are a ton of really fun things they've done with the skills competition this year. I think taking, a signal from what Vegas did with their competition at the Bellagio and stuff, they've added some specialty events along with, your typical things like fastest skater and the accuracy competition, shooting at targets, etc. But I do want to talk first about one of the newer competitions, and that is this NHL Tendy Tandem, which I absolutely love what's happening with this because it's all goalies all the time. That's something I've talked about for forever to give them more of a role that isn't just, letting goals in because everybody wants to see goals. And so in this competition, goalies are paired up and there's a goalie and a shooting goalie. And so the shooting goalie is going to shoot at uh, targets in the net. I'm guessing it's going to be something like skee ball, where they'll get a certain number of points depending on where it hits in the net. And based on those points, that'll determine how many shots against the goalie is going to face later on in the pair. And the part of it that I love the most is that this is where they've gotten the women to
Yeah.
participate. So we have Alex Carpenter, Hillary Knight, Emily Clark, Rebecca Johnston, and Sarah Nurse, who are all phenomenal players and excellent shooters. And so these goaltenders are really going to have to try and stop these incredible women's players from scoring. And so we'll get some real goaltending here.
Yeah, it's a nice twist. And to give the goalies their own sort of event is also really nice because the All-Star games are never fair to goalies. Let's face it. It's a game of shinny and the 3-on-3 and so you're doing a couple of things. You're incorporating the women's hockey stars into the All-Star Weekend, which I love, and you're letting the goalies have a chance to do something different and to shine. So I like this on a number of levels.
Me too. One of the other fun ones they've added is this splash shot, which is essentially a dunk tank, right? So you have to shoot at targets to get your opponents to go into the drink, as it were. And I think this one is interesting to me. It's also pre-taped, so it's already happened, and we'll find out what happened in tonight's broadcast. But we've got the two Kachucks in this competition. So are they going to be against each other, trying to dunk each other, which I think is fun. And we've got Sidney Crosby participating in this competition. So does Sidney Crosby get dunked? I want to know these things.
There are a few players who are very eagerly looking forward to the chance to dunk Sidney Crosby or the
I would
Kachuk for that
guess so.
matter. So
Yes, that is
for different
true.
reasons, but yeah.
That is true. And, we've got Nathan McKinnon and Mikko Rantanen from Colorado, along with Cale Makar. So I don't know how that dynamic is going to play out, but hopefully they all had a good time in this competition.
Should be fun. Should be a lot of fun. And it's kind of unique to South Florida, which I like also.
Exactly. All right. We are going to continue to talk about the skills competition events and maybe get into some of the game itself coming up next.
But first, this episode is brought to you by FanDuel. This year, the only app you need for your Super Bowl party is FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. We're really excited about our new sports betting partner for Locked On because they're the #1 sportsbook in America, FanDuel. And if you're new to FanDuel, that's even better. They have so many great features that make betting on sports fun and easy. Download the FanDuel app now so you can bet Super Bowl 57 with a no-sweat first bet. You'll get up to $3,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. FanDuel lets you bet on everything from the money line to point spreads to who will score a touchdown. The FanDuel Sportsbook app is safe, secure, and super easy to use. And best of all, you can get paid your winnings instantly. So join FanDuel today at FanDuel.com/LockedOn to claim your no-sweat first bet on Super Bowl 57. That's FanDuel.com/LockedOn. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
Gil, the other skills competition event that is unique to Florida is this pitch and puck event, which is a combination of hockey and golf, which I can't think of anything more Florida than golf, honestly. But they've got players playing a par 4 with an island green. And they've got some, I think, golf guys out there. Johnny Gaudreau, I think, is probably my favorite to win this one. But we've also got Clayton Keller, Jason Robertson, and Nick Suzuki. Who you got in this one?
I think Clayton Keller, he's representing Arizona. I have
another golf place, right?
Another golf place. I have a hunch Clayton Keller is going to do pretty darn well in this competition.
Yeah, I think that's entirely possible as well. Like, as we were talking, I'm like, oh, right, Arizona has a lot of golf too. So
hot and dry all year round, yeah.
Yep, gets a lot of practice. Going back to the more traditional competitions with the fastest skater, I'm kind of bummed out we don't have Connor McDavid in this one. But we do have Dylan Larkin, Kirill Kaprizov, Cale Makar, Chandler Stevenson, and Andrei Svechnikov.
Yeah, and that's going to be a fun competition. And it's amazing because every few years, the number just keeps getting faster and faster. And whether it's the shape the players are in, the quality of the skates, the ice, I don't know. But these guys just continue to impress year after year.
They do, and God, like I want to say Cale Makar, but I don't know. I think that's going to be a tough one to call ahead of time.
We'll be close. We'll be close.
All right, and then I think one of my favorite moments that I'm anticipating is going to take place in the NHL Breakaway Challenge, which is always fun, and this is where the players get their personality out there, and I think that the players let loose in this competition more than any other. And I think the thing that is going to make it as such even more so this year is that they're having Roberto Luongo come out of retirement to play in nets. So I think he's going to get a little chirpy out there.
Oh, no, not Roberto. No. And the other fun thing about this is that Sidney Crosby and Alex Ovechkin are going to be teaming up for this competition. Now, we all know them as the, big rivals for so many years. Having them team up, there's going to be something up their sleeves. You just know it.
I know. I'm trying to figure out what they could do. And I'm thinking, well, they could maybe combine the eagle and the penguin are like birds. They could figure out some sort of bird thing to do together, or pretend to fight and then not. I don't know what it could be, but whatever it is, it's going to be great. And I am super excited for that. Also in the competition are other guys with big personalities, Mitch Marner, David Pastrnak, and Matthew Tkachuk, a home favorite. So I'm guessing maybe he's going to get the biggest cheer out there, but I don't know if you can beat an Ovi Crosby combo in this.
No, that will be a challenge. And, to me, that's one of the funnest or most fun competitions out there, just because, as you said, the personalities of the players really get to shine through. And that's one of the things I love about all these skills competitions.
Yeah. I would say that the kind of least interesting of them has always been this accuracy shooting competition. Now, it's not as bad as like the ones where they have people doing the sauce passes into the mini nets and like who cares. But this one, at least they're hitting targets and have to go up against a clock and see who can finish up the fastest. But I always see this one as like where you put everybody else, so to speak. But there are some really good hockey players in this one, and I think it's going to be a tough competition. We have some amazing shooters in here, including Leon Draisaitl. We've got Connor McDavid, Artemi Panarin, Vladimir Tarasenko. I mean, Jack Hughes.
Yeah,
I
Jack Hughes
think,
is sort of my dark horse favorite
yeah,
here. He,
yeah. I think it's going to be between him and Draisaitl, is
yep.
my guess. So it should be a little bit more heightened than usual with these level of players in it. But again, that is where also the Flyers' Kevin Hayes will be for
Yes.
this All Star weekend. And I think that, most people would have said Travis Konechny deserves the slot. But one thing that I'm excited for with Kevin Hayes attending is that he is going to be bringing his nephew, Bo, who is his brother's Jimmy's son. And so I'm fully expecting Bo Hayes to take over the All Star game and be the personality for that competition out there.
Something to look forward to.
Exactly. Now we have the game itself to look forward to as well with the 3-on-3 tournament. Do you have any predictions for this?
Oh boy, it is tough. I am going to go with the Atlantic Division, I think, but it is going to be a very entertaining and fast moving competition. And as a fan, I just want to see some good hockey out there. How about you?
Yeah, yeah, it's also so difficult to make it good hockey
Yes.
when it's guys who aren't used to playing together. And I think that's where the 3-on-3 format helps in terms of having more wide open ice to give opportunities to guys to just skate through open space. And there's certainly not a lot of defense being played in these tournaments. So I don't know, man. I mean, the Atlantic is a good call. I have to say, if you look at that roster, where Mitch Marner's there, Brady, like the Kachuk's on their home, advantage to a large degree, and they have the best goaltending tandem, I think,
Yeah.
with Linus Ullmark and Andrei Vasilevsky. I mean, if they're going to actually play, I think they're going to be tough to beat.
But will they actually play? That's the $64,000 question.
Yeah, I think that is the big question for sure. I mean, maybe the Pacific has a shot at it,
Okay.
but I don't know. I think we're right on with the Atlantic as our winner prediction here. Do you have anybody that you think will score the most goals in the competition?
Ah, boy, yeah, that's it. It's tough, but if I'm going to stick with the Atlantic Division, I'm going with Marner, Mitchell Marner.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Jack Hughes.
Okay,
I feel like this is a breakout year for him, and I feel like he's gonna care about this a lot. and
probably will.
and really put the effort out there. I think he is a guy that's going to work really hard in this. I think Kirill Kaprizov is a guy that's going to work really hard in an all-star competition. He just strikes me as somebody that would care a lot about this, but in getting that MVP, I know there's like a lot of money at stake. You know, the winning team gets $1 million in the 3-on-3 tournament, and that's nothing to sneeze at. But getting that, yeah, that MVP and a car at the end, you know, there's some big incentive there.
No question about it. And you know, look, that adds a little spice to the event.
Exactly. All right, we're going to get into some of the ancillary stuff going on over the weekend coming up next. Gil, I think when we talk about NHL events, they are not exactly known for getting the best musical artists to come to these different competitions for the All Star Game and for the Stadium Series game. Sometimes you're just like, who are these people? I don't know. But I think they've done an okay job with this one. And, you know, when you start out with having Fall Out Boy as your headliner, I think that's a pretty solid choice.
Yeah, not bad at all. Not bad at all. And they're performing during the second intermission.
Yes, they are, of the 3-on-3 tournament. And the thing about it that I appreciate so much is that Fall Out Boy will be joined by a full orchestra,
Yes.
the Central Florida Community Arts Symphony Orchestra. And I am always 100% here for a band playing with a full orchestra. It makes it such an incredible experience. And you just get to hear a different arrangement of some really top hits. I am a frequent listener of the BBC radio sessions with their in-house orchestra. That always surprises me, and in a really good way. So Fall Out Boy plus full orchestra, I am here for it.
Oh, I always enjoy that, and I always also kind of get a kick out of the juxtaposition of members of an orchestra in their tuxedos and very proper
Mhm.
dress playing with a rock
Will
band.
they though? Will they be
We'll find out.
wearing hockey
Sometimes they
jerseys?
do, sometimes they don't. But I always like that juxtaposition, that look of, you know, here's you know, Led Zeppelin, and then behind them is people in tuxedos playing, you know, playing their orchestra pieces. I always enjoy that.
Yeah, and then we've got a two different sets of anthem singers, one for the skills competition and one for the game itself. At the game, we've got Sasha from Canada singing their national anthem and Andrew McMahon performing the US national anthem. I'm actually really excited to see these performers just because I've heard a little bit about Sasha before, and I'm just interested to see what her "O Canada" sounds like.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing that. It should be a good one. And you know, Andrew McMahon doing the American national anthem. It's not an easy tune to sing.
No, it is not. I have done it many times as a member of a choir. Very thankful I have the alto part and I don't have to hit those high notes.
There you go.
But yeah, and then, you know, of course, they have you know, the color guard and all of that. They've got sign language interpretation at this one, which I think is really cool. So I think it'll be a nice, well-rounded program for the weekend.
Yeah, it should be. And you know, you have a nice sort of local flavor to it, but also international. And you know, they've done a good job of putting this together, all things considered.
Yeah, is there any particular thing that you are looking forward to the most out of this All-Star weekend?
Oh boy, the most. That is, you know, huh. I want to see the dunk tank. That's I want to see them dunk each other. I think that the sense of humor of some of the players will definitely come out during that event.
Yeah, and I think I'm looking to see how they produce this weekend overall, and if it feels cheesy in any way. I mean, there's a fine line because this is all cheesy, right? But
Yes.
there's a line between appropriately cheesy and over the top, and what are they thinking? Cheesy. And I hope they manage to like tread that line very carefully because on paper actually looks like it'll be a lot of fun. Of course, they've had this beach festival all weekend down there. With fan activities and all that. And they have the mascot competition, which has been going on. And I'm sure we'll see some of the footage from that over the weekend as well. Got to get that Seattle representation in with Bowie, right?
Well,
So,
yeah, but the Flyers mascot's got to be a favorite also, though.
oh yeah, that's for sure. And I have been clamoring on the internet ever since Bowie was announced as the Seattle mascot that I would very much like to see Bowie and Ed Gritty be the co-stars of a heist movie. I think that would be extremely entertaining with them trying to plan a heist, and maybe they'll steal like the Stanley Cup or something. And I would love to see that. So NHL, make that happen for me. That's
As
all
long
I
as they
want
don't
in this
drop the
world.
gloves, it's all good.
Oh yeah. Well, of course they would wear the gloves. But yeah, other than that stuff, I think I definitely want to see what happens with that dunk tank competition. And I do want to see, if anybody else besides Kevin Hayes brings kids out there. I always love it when they have like little kids skating around during the skills competition and, just adding more of a family feeling to it, and you just see these guys relax and they're a lot less intense. I wanna see who's mic'd up
Yes.
during it. That's always a good time, and yeah, it should be a really fun weekend, and then, a lot of the teams who had off this week will get back into it next week, and, the second batch of teams will have their week off next week, so we'll have a lot to talk about next Friday when we return as far as all of the games and news that happened in the week ahead, as well as, maybe some more trades will happen that we'll have to talk about on next Friday's show. Gil and I will be back for that. And then Gil will be back on Monday with his weekly show, checking in on NHL teams with hosts from around the Locked On NHL family. Once again, I am Rachel. You can find me on Twitter at rmiriam. Gil here is on Twitter at IceWarsNYRVSNYI. Have a great All Star weekend, everybody.